CMO. How are you today?
Good, feeling really well, and feeling really good at an interesting time we're in terms of being on the lockdown in London in COVID and whatnot.
Yeah, I think this is a time that we will all look back with either glee, despair, or gratitude who got through it. But hey, look, just wanted to introduce myself to the audience out there. My name is Jules Anderson. I'm the RSD for Encipher, now Entrust, and have been in the business for 5 years. And I'm here with who?
Well, I'm Kaderia, and I'm not going to reveal what company I work for or endorse any of our products or solutions. But on that note, I just feel a little bit hot at the moment. So I thought, let me just start off by taking my jacket off. And sorry, just got some water in my mug at the moment. So yeah, I'm Kaderia, Regional Director of Sales for EMEA for AppViewX.
Well, I love the great reveal. We had one recently, and this is the outcome of our big reveal. The coffee cup.
Absolutely,
just fantastic. Mo, great for you to share some time with us today. I'm glad that we could do that. So AppViewX, some people might not know who AppViewX are. So if you can give us a quick story about who you are, why AppViewX for customers.
Sure. So in real simple terms, AppViewX is an organization with a platform, and our vision is really simple. And I'll summarize this very quickly. One, our vision is to make infrastructure invisible. Yeah. And our mission is to automate, right? So whether that be services, whether that be technologies, whether that be certificates, whether that will be automating certificate management, it's all about automation, right? And the reason we talk about automation is a simple analogy. ABS braking was actually invented in the airline industry first, when the aircrafts used to land. Mm-hmm. At that time, people were like, well, hold on a minute, how can this be used anywhere else other than aeroplanes? And you look today, every single modern car out there has ABS as standard, and it saves lives. And that's very much the ethos, what we're talking about, automation. So whether it's within the world of certificates, whether it's within the world of F5s or ADCs or switches, routers and Cisco devices, and whatever those devices may be, whatever form it takes, it's all about automating.
Okay, so which I think helps to drive efficiencies and deliver benefits, obviously, to an operational tech environment and stack. But so, what problems are you solving with that that vision and that strategy? What day-to-day problems are you solving?
Sure. So within the world of certificate management, it's all about protecting the customer from having outages. Yeah. When we have people approach us, it's all about help. We've got outages. We've got these fires. We need to put these fires out, and then we need to make sure that they never occur ever again. The other aspect of that would fall under the term of compliance, where it's all about ensuring you have visibility of your certificates and they are appropriately protected. Certificates underpin key technologies and key services within the business. And as we enter a digital era where DevOps becomes more agile, where SecOps and DevOps are constantly fighting with each other because one wants speed and the other one wants security, technologies like AppViewX comes in and solves that war, which happens between the two through automation. And it doesn't just affect the world of certificates. We are talking about automating devices. We are talking about automating very labor-intensive roles and functions. And in today's society, especially during COVID, where you have lots of people using VIPs and VPNs and working remotely, and strains happening on servers and ADCs and load balancers, the need for automation has never been greater.
Yeah.
Especially as we are now all remote, and can't just have people jumping on a plane or jumping on a train and going in and trying to resolve certain things happening in data centers.
Yeah. So I mean, let's be real. Any organization in today's environment lives and dies by service availability, uptime, and certificates are pretty key to that, whether it be public or private. There are tens of thousands of these certificates. I know, interesting. So when you're having that discussion around that service availability, uptime, automation, how do you engage customers when they're talking about key protection as a case in point, which are interested?
So I think you hit upon another note which is going to make me sidetrack a little bit, but PKI has always been a bit of a dark art. When you walk up to your traditional CISO and you talk to them about pen testing, they'll know what it is. When you talk to them about so many things, they know what it is. You talk to them about PKI, and most of the time you get a bit of a puzzled look where you go, oh yes, PKI, that's so-and-so's problem. And when you ask them what is the problem, they look completely baffled. And that brings the key point about what you mentioned about key protection.
Yeah.
So within the realms of PKI, yes, we talk about certificates. Yes, we talk about keys, which are a vital component of those certificates. But those keys need to be protected, because if those keys are not protected, those certificates can be compromised very, very quickly, right? And that's where the likes of Incipher come in, or as you are now known as Entrust, come into the equation. Because the way I look at it is very simple. PKI is made up of a chain. There's a chain and different parts of that chain which makes your business secure.
Yeah.
And we may be in the middle looking after the key spokes of those chains, but effectively without the HSM, your keys are not protected.
Yeah.
And thus you leave yourself exposed.
Yeah, and as an interesting point, I was with somebody today. We had a great conversation about PKI, and in various government departments as well as enterprise, and they thought, yeah, I'm right into the, I'm wired into the to the beating heart of this PKI organization, and you mentioned HSMs, and they say what? And so it's interesting that understanding or lack of it is out there, but I can understand why, because it is quite confusing. We've been involved in this business for 50 odd years as Entrust. We're a manufacturer of HSM, so we have this. Cryptography is within our DNA, and we came out of St. Boyd's in Cambridge back in the early 90s, and Entrust have been involved in this business for longer than that. So we understand the whole chain of trust, root of trust, and that value chain as you mentioned earlier on. But I look at the language used, which is confusing enough anyway. For us guys, who are involved with it. We got things like, DEC, KEC, MEC, data encryption key encryption key. We then got the master encryption key, and it's trying to navigate your way, through that language, as well as, let's say, being a CISO. Okay, they know elements of it, and there's some technical guys, and of course there are. I'm not doing a disservice to, but they got so much stuff going on, right? That is part of that suite, that security process, part of the perimeter we think is dead, but the crown jewels are your encryption keys, and then you add certificates onto that. So for me,
do you find customers need help or get confused with encryption terminology? I mean, I had to interrupt you there because we started off with DEC, KEC, and MEC.
I could have said CAC, MAC, and something else, but I didn't want to. But we do, and the beauty of people who are specialised in their specific market is they have that experience, and they have the scars, as well as the plaudits and the crown to do that, and that's where I think we as vendors come together and work closely together, because the beauty of the integration guys that we have is that they've gone through your labs, gone through our labs. You have basically built yourself out as a digitally native business. Yeah, I don't know, how are you, 8 to 10 years old at AppViewX? I can't remember.
Yeah, we're about a decade old.
Yeah, 10 years old. You just out of shorts, right? Yeah, and
just out of shorts.
And here I am in my tweed and my I don't need my slippers on underneath, and we'd be 50, right? But the point I'm making is that, you know, integration guides, solution briefs, you know, NIST, FIPS, you know, process, you know, all those, you know, are part of the language that we live in, and it requires skills and experience that comes up over time. So you've got PKI experts in your business. You've got guys who've been around the area a bit. We got very deep and technical, nerdy, you know, crypto guys who bring immediate value to people who see it. But without experience, what we do is take, you know, people on a journey of, I'd say, encryption enlightenment. And you know, I'm sitting there cross-legged on a with a couple of joss sticks. But whether it's enlightenment or it's education, it's important, right? So, you know, those POCs, you know, that approach to engaging, educating. But customers want value and they want automation. The other stuff, they just want to be done. They want it to be there, right? But you take above it, operational, you know, technologies, you know, IT is where it all happens. So in terms of your world and AppViewX, you know, how are you guys helping with that automation, you know, challenge?
Absolutely, and I think first things first, automation is a very broad term.
Yeah.
If I got paid a pound for every time I heard the word automation or saw the word automation on LinkedIn,
yeah.
Exactly, I think I'd have a couple of more T-shirts, right? To say the least. But without a shadow of a doubt, yeah, it's a very broad term. So that's why whenever I talk to customers or partners or people, or even just on an industry discussion, you know, panel event, what have you, I always start off by going, look, automation at the end of the day is a tool. It's a mechanism to help you achieve what you want to achieve. The most important thing is, what do you want to achieve, right? And we can get lost with all the terminologies and, you know, the geeky stuff and the technical stuff and go really deep into different types of encryption types and everything else. And we've got people in AppViewX who are from all parts of that chain I spoke about earlier, whether they were from previously in a previous life working for a CA or a HSM or whichever components come into that. But ultimately, it boils down to a couple of things, what I tend to see again and again. And that's one, what do you want to achieve? What's your vision, right? Where do you see yourself going? These are the sorts that CISOs and people up the chain need to think. You know, we're seeing now at this moment in time, there is an explosion of, you know, businesses moving to the cloud, right?
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more and more recognized, shall I say, that moving to the cloud is not just moving to the cloud, it's how do we secure that journey to the cloud, right? And so then it's really important, you know, to have a solution that is built upon a cloud native platform, right? Not a solution that has some scripts bolted onto it, which may or may not do the cloud, or actually
surely not.
Here's one we did earlier, right?
Typing away, yeah?
Exactly, typing away. So the key thing here is, you know, it's very important to understand what the vision is, what the pitfalls, what the dangers are.
Yeah.
And more importantly, to become agile. You know, the term crypto agility is one I hear again and again and again. But there's very much truth in that, right? So, you know, as I said, PKI is a bit of a dark art. PKI is not something that every CISO discusses every single morning. In fact, I'd be very surprised if they hear it once a year. Right?
That reminds me of a quick story about, I remember speaking to somebody in quite a serious organization, I would put it that way, right? who were saying, "Oh yeah, PKI, yeah, we don't touch that. We don't want to mess it up. That was done 3 years ago. You know, we're just going to leave it as it is. We have no idea if we press this button, what's going to happen to it. You know, so it is absolutely seeing the dark art, and I fully understand the approach about crypto agility, right? I understand about encryption enlightenment, automation, but here's it. I'm going to throw a phrase out to you, right? You could throw it back at me, I don't mind, but in terms of your approach, you have POCs, you build trust, you build in all that, understanding the client needs, and but is there such a term, do you think, as trusted automation?
I mean, I think that's a brilliant term, right? And I think what it does is it hits the key notes of two different parts of the business at the same time. So you have the one part of the business that wants to innovate, that wants to grow, that are the visionaries, that are the let's think ahead in 5 years' time. And they're going, we need automation to help us achieve that. We need the cloud to help us achieve that. We need X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And then you have the other part of the business going, okay, hold on.
Hold the reins back. Hold those reins back.
It's like, hold on, right? How secure is this? Does this comply to our security policies? Have we actually pen tested any of this?
Yeah.
And that's where I think the message of trusted automation is key.
Yeah.
Because what we're saying is, yes, you can absolutely achieve those dreams, and we're going to help you do that. But we're trusted.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure that we stay within that security framework to help you achieve that vision.
Yeah, and I think that again, it goes back to where we come in as part of the trust chain. In terms of the integration we have with AppViewX and the interoperability labs that we have, and the mutual technical seniors as well as the doers down the organization, making sure we have that tight integration, which helps that whole vision, I suppose, in class, or the execution, I think, is really what I'm saying. But look, it's great to hear. I mean that we have a similar common understanding of the customer challenges, and I do want to mention the fact that POCs understanding where the customer wants to go, taking them on that journey, the companies, organizations that accept they have a bit of a challenge and want to do some proof of concept, some bake-offs, or some engagement. That's where we find we deliver greater value, rather than being at the back end of a tender process or something, or security says no, customer says, right, blimey, I need to go speak to some security vendors now about something. Is that the same in your world? How do you find things?
Yeah, absolutely. So in our world, proof's in the pudding, and we've always said that. You have a couple of players within our industry. You can't make a decision on paper. How are you going to do it? And the answer is, and it's nothing new, this is not rocket science, it's basically sitting down and doing POCs.
Yeah.
And through POCs, you get a true picture of what you're actually buying and what you're actually going to be using.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and you're 100% right in what you said. Otherwise, you just become another line item in a list of things to tick off the box.
Yeah, and it's great to hear it. Look, to the final close, I remember us having a conversation, however many, feels like years. I know you very well now, Mo, but about somebody feeling like a rock star, right? And here we are in the security world, feeling like a rock star, based on all WannaCries and all those other stuff. There are not many people who feel like that these days. If you're under pressure and all that sort of stuff. But why did you use that term when we were chatting a few weeks ago?
Well, it's very true, because if you imagine within the realms of PKI, a service goes down, and let's say that's a vital service which is directly impacting the revenue stream of a particular business or an organization. And if you're heading up the PKI world, and effectively it's a certificate which has expired, then who's going to get it in the neck?
Yeah,
that's you, right? Now, it may not be your fault as per se, because obviously you're not in charge of the certificates, you just head up the function, but ultimately the wrath of the top will come down on you. Okay, so the same way the wrath will come down on you, the praise will come down on you if you solve a major problem for this business. So now when you're saying to this business, actually, I'm working with the likes of Encipher, aka now known as Entrust, which I still have a bad habit of calling you Encipher, I know, right? And you know, and this company called AppViewX, don't know who they are, right? But the fact that you're working with these two organizations, you're never going to have an outage ever again down to an expired certificate, for example, or you're never going to have an issue with your keys ever again, because now that whole process is completely automated and the human error element is now removed. So now you've solved a major problem for an organization. Now imagine if you had several outages in 1 month. And all of a sudden you come here and you've now solved that problem, and that problem is never going to reoccur. And the same goes for not just with the world of PKI, but it also goes for companies which at this moment in time, their workload is increasing because of COVID and lockdown and everything else, and strain on VPN and strain on servers. And the team can't cope because they're only human. They have two hands and 18 hours in the day, shall we say. Let's bless them. Let them have 6 hours to themselves, right? But they only have a certain set amount of time. Now you've just come in and you've given those people their lives back by automating all those labor-intensive processes which were previously driving them crazy. So other than being a rock star, what else would you be?
Well, exactly. That's a great story to tell. You know, I remember a colleague of mine who used to say, "These are magic hands, not miracle hands." You know, similar sort of thing, right? So I think, you know, and it's the same thing. You know, we can make magic happen, but we can't do miracles. You know, and I think that's even a case in point today. But Mel, I've really enjoyed the last 25 minutes. It's been a great chance to have a chat over a digital box.
A virtual cup of coffee?
And a
virtual cup of coffee.
Yeah, I should have data protection solutions underneath, you know, DPS, you know, it's as part of Entrust, and I'm sure we'll put something in there. But I think, you know, going back to, you know, how we got together because I think we have a mutual common approach to helping customers understand how we can work together and what value we can bring. Hopefully you've done that over the last 20 odd minutes. It's been a joy speaking with you. You know, I think the integration, the assurance, the automation, the future proofing, you know, the chain of trust, reducing pain are all important, you know, sayings, you know, but it's the values that we share. And, you know, I think respect is earned, as we know, trust is forged over time, but reputation is hard won. And I think, you know, where we try and move forward together as vendors is in those three areas. But it's been a great 20 odd minutes. I wish you all of that, and cheers from Entrust to AppViewX.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. Cheers. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.